Should be changed really, but we're not going very far.
No one wants to come up and do that job.
You shouldn't break it in the first place, kid.
Hi, I'm Lynn and I'm Paul, Mark and Sean's sister and auntie to Ryan, Daniel and Sam. Also auntie to a nephew and 5 nieces as well. About 30 years ago, my dad rang me and said, would you mind coming and helping make boxes on the 6 fields while we pack cabbage? So I did, and I've never left. When I look back and think of all the things that we've grown and I've helped harvest, the sprouts, cabbages, carrots, broccoli, celery. Now we're doing leeks and new potatoes, so I've helped out on all those things. I've laid fleece, I've filled bags of soil. I've just about covered everything that the others have, so I try to do my bit. So as I'm getting older, I thought I'll let the others get their hands dirty, so I've stepped back a little bit. I don't do the midnight potatoes anymore, I let somebody else do that. But I do harvest them in the day and box them for markets. Nowadays I get asked to do chicken curries or pea and ham soup, or I wash the clothes if thrown down in the yard when they get wet. So I do all sorts of different things, but I'm still here for them. You never know what a day brings on the farm. One day I might be cooking dinner, or the next I might get a call to say there's 10 Shetland ponies running down the field and can you go and catch them? And I live on the farm now, so I am a little bit too close for when they want something doing. Just shout over the fence now and I have to drop everything and go and help them, but it's what families do. Nice to be involved after all these years. I have enjoyed working on the farm, even though sometimes I could cry, but in the cold weather that's not good. But there's never a good job in farming, is there? There's always something that's either too hot or too cold, or we can't get, the tractors are stuck, but it's just in a day's work and you have to just get on with it. But it's nice to see everybody involved, and it is a big family concern. There's probably about 50 of us now when I added them up, so there's always somebody else to come along and keep the firm going. I do think the lads are doing a good job, and it's good to have a bit of young blood. I'm not sure my dad would agree with half of the things that they're doing, but hey ho, things change, perhaps for the better, who knows.
So this is a Grimmy single row harvester. We've used this for years, and we only really started this year sort of using it at the start of the season while the spuds are dead sensitive, dead delicate.
Yeah, it's very gentle, isn't it? It's very, very gentle, this harvester, with the potatoes, because it doesn't go through a lot of webs. So like Sam says there, we've used this for years now, haven't we?
Yeah.
Because we've always planted on 60-inch, which allows us to have single row beds, like ridges.
So instead of digging 3-row like we are now on a 72-inch bed, obviously with a 60-inch, the benefit you have is there's more soil around the potatoes, and there's less potatoes in the sort of area of soil that you have. So that means they can grow a bit quicker and they've got the space to grow. But with what we've learned from this year doing it on the 72-inch is that we can be delicate with that new harvester, and that we can actually maintain the small size of potatoes much better on a 72-inch bed with 3-row than we can with single ones, because these just grow like mad when you get a bit of good weather.
We used to have a Reiki dominant 3000 harvester that went on the back of the tractor, similar kind of setup with this. But that was when we first started exploring the 72-inch bed, but we had a load of issues with the harvester, and it was the actual harvester it was a nightmare, wasn't it? There was a few electrical problems with it, which meant that it wouldn't operate in automatic on its own, so you had to have your hands in multiple positions to try and make it operate. So that's when we then went on to looking at the back end of last year for a new potato harvester, which is where we've got this new one delivered in February this year. So, like Sam said, it's brilliant in terms of how it actually handles the potatoes. It's very delicate with them, isn't it? And it's not peeling the skins off like we thought it probably was going to do. So now, looking into next year, we might just start doing 72-inch beds straight from the go, from early season, mightn't we?
And we can retire the old girl. She's made us enough money, she can lay to rest now. Let's have Can we look inside, see how she works?
Yeah, sure it works. So the potatoes will come up on the main intake web when the shear's down in the floor. They'll come up through this bottom web here. Potatoes will drop onto this rear drum, which is rotated. And the tops would then jump over the drum and they would go on that web, drop onto this head jog here, and they would fall onto this picking off table. Now with this machine, you didn't have to take the tops off. You didn't have to put a topper on the front or top in advance. So the tops would come up and you would just adjust this to the height you wanted. Yeah, so once the potatoes have come off the head jog, this would then be a picking off table and you'd be throwing away any rotten ones, any green ones, any bits of tops, any seed that have come through. You throw it off onto that bell there, that would then drop back into the field as waste, and only your nice potatoes then get carried through.
Straight into the bags. We used 25 kilo bags, used to bag them off with, and it was quite labour intensive. When you had a busy day, you'd be doing 200-300 of these, and you'd have to do a few rounds of the field, you'd stack them all up. You know, you'd get sort of 30-40 on at one time, and then you'd have to obviously unload them back onto the trailer. So we just come in, put them under these clamps, clamp them shut, and obviously make sure you don't fill them up too much so that they're still manageable.
Yeah, so as they'd come up there, wouldn't they? The potatoes would be diverted into one of the chutes, start filling the bag. You'd keep an eye on it. As soon as that bag's full, you just divert it the other way, which meant you could then change this bag.
Choke it off, and then your bags would all stack up there. Like I say, if you're a good stacker, like myself, you get about 30-40 on here. But,
like yourself?
But yeah, I've done more of them bags than you've had school dinners, don't worry.
Yeah. I have it, yeah.
This is the worst wear of the two harvesters. As you can see, the sheet's not enjoyed last night's wind so much.
Yeah, to be fair, only a couple of days ago I was here and this sheet was absolutely intact, so it's just last night's wind that has obliterated the sheet, because it was not like this.
As you can see, we have actually added a few lengths of hose pipe to the web, and that's purely for the sake of, we were actually growing potatoes that would fall in between this lot of web. If everything was stretched by a stone or anything, we would lose potatoes underneath there. That's how small they were. So we'd have to add in every other rod. We'd have to put some hose pipe on just to close the gaps up a little bit more, so we didn't lose any. Maximising profits and yield.
So these machines were manufactured, I think, roughly around 1981, 82, something like that. So there's a fair bit of age about them now, and we've had them for, I'd say, about 15 to 20 years. So they've done us really well. Stored away for winter now.
Yeah, but it's good to see that we put things away tidy and not in the right.
There's no point in lying to the camera, because we don't.
We look after our equipment, especially the old ones, because you never know when you're going to need them.
Wind's
cold one, isn't it? So I got my bobble hat on. Malbro merchandise. There's a little link there for you.
Black again here.
Quick, get the wet wipe! Wet wipe, Daniel!
Size wise, they're where they want to be.
I want to do 10. 8, 6, 9. Probably 12 spuds off a root, that's pretty good.
We're not going to grow them.
We know.
Come Monday, when you need to dig these, if you haven't took the tops off, you're going to have bald potatoes in your box. And we don't want bald potatoes in the box. So I'd take
bald
6
potatoes
row
on
out.
the web, never mind the box.
going to top them now, so you better move. Go on, Daniel. Give it some. Go on, George, get on your tractor, love. Katie, you on this side? Have you got any gloves on there, Katie? No? Oh yeah, the ones put on your hand. Have you got any, no red ones? All right. Right. Currently we're using a flail mower, which isn't ideal to use topping spuds.
A purposely made potato topper, which would go on the front of this. Now, because we're topping in advance, it's not, and we're not topping on the harvester, it seems a better idea for us when we're looking at buying either a potato topper or a flail mower, which one to go for, because we can use that for topping around our fields, topping around the ditches, topping the grass fields we've got at home, and just a few other things. So by buying that, we've kind of killed two birds with one stone, instead of just buying a potato topper, which you couldn't use on topping grass or around your fields. So that's why we're using the flail mower.
The only disadvantage of using that is that it doesn't, because they're on a bed and they're not flat to the floor, you don't catch these ones that sometimes fall down the shoulder of the bed. So all these will still come up the harvester, we'll have to pick them off on the picking table. But you know, it does 90% of them, it just means we've got to work a little bit harder, which we don't mind.
You could buy one that would be purposely made for, like this 3-row here, you've got the 3 ridges, it would be purposely made for this, and it throws the tops out the side. So if it was on the front of the harvester, as you were driving and it was topping, all this bit of waste, it would make a better job if we had the potato topper, because you would get rid of this better. But as the machine's taking the tops off, it throws it out the side, whereas now we've smashed all this to bits, and this will come up on through the harvester, because there's not a conveyor belt to get it out of the way.
Let's dig some spuns.
Let's dig some spuns.
Dig some spuns.
Set off now. I noticed on the camera as we got going, there must have been a steel bar somewhere on the floor here.
In a minute.
False alarm. It was not steel. It's a bit of rubber tubing, probably off that old harvester's web. You know, we were saying earlier that we used to put bits of hose pipe or rubber. So fortunately we caught it. It could have been a lot worse. Luckily it was rubber.
On a picking off table, myself and Katie, just taking out any tops, any roots, any seed, bits of soil, stones, anything like that, anything that's not potatoes basically. We'll pick off here now, so that it makes the job easier when we get home. We haven't really got a massive grading table at home, you see. So the more we do here, the less we can do proper packaging. Say if you've got bigger potatoes than you do soil, you'll open that up a little bit, the soil will fall through, the potatoes will then roll on. We've got all this set to the minimum. Our potatoes are tiny, there's not really a lot of soil, it doesn't really need to do a lot, so we've got it set at an angle as far down as it can go, so it's more or less just skipping straight over the rollers. So it's a really, really handy tool if you need it, but for our sake, we just need to get them from A to B. Rollers there that you can see, they're all moving in the same direction. You can actually change the smaller ones in between to run a different way. So we close them rollers up as tight as we can. There's all these little potatoes that you can see. Really are. They're about as small as you'll ever find in the supermarket, so keep them smaller. So the reason we have the rollers going all the same direction, the reason we tighten them up as much as we can, get getting them on an angle so that they just fall, like I said, from A to B. We don't want these getting trapped in any rollers. We don't want them being pulled through. We want to keep all them. It's all weight. It's all good weight.
Just leaving this field of the new potatoes now, where they're small size, the tops are green. We have a field next to us here, which we left the potatoes to get to large potatoes, like a large crop. We let the tops die back. The skins are now set on those, and we have a customer who wants some. So we're just going to move the harvester over to the other machine now and fill the other 2 boxes with the large potatoes. I'm going to make sure I don't hit Dan, wherever he is. So yeah, that's the plan now. So when the potatoes are green like this, the skins haven't set and they're very soft. Whereas the field that we're moving to now, the skins have completely set on those, and we're going to sell those as a large potato.
We've only got...
Even though they're the same variety. It just gives us, because we're not getting any big potatoes out of these, the other about 20 to 25 row, we're just letting one field grow big for a customer of ours. This is the Grimmy SF 1700. We got this from Chris Powell up in Scotland in Banff. It's an absolutely fantastic machine. His after support as well has been brilliant with us, so thank you, Chris. Any issues that we've had or us not understanding parts of the machine because it's new to us, obviously you've seen what we've been previously using compared to what we're using now. It was quite a step up, and the controls, it took a little bit of time to learn it, but he was straight on the phone, couldn't have been more helpful. So thanks for that. We're running on this a 32mm intake web, 2 28mm main webs, so that's the first main web and second main web. The dolmens that are on the back end of this, which help rip the bits of the tops out and the weed out. These originally came with 80mm rollers. Now what we were finding there for our new potatoes, obviously with them being quite small, the spiral extrusion, which is on one roller. So what it is, you've got a spiral extrusion roller and a plain roller, and that's the same all the way across, and they turn into each other. And where the spiral extrusion was on the roller was coming down, because the gap was about 10 or 15mm, when the potatoes were travelling down the dolmens, especially when it got to the end, because they're only fixed at one point, it was gripping the potatoes and it was ripping them out. So we were losing a lot of potatoes out the back of the harvester. So I rang Chris, said, what can we do? He said he could supply us some 90mm stainless steel rollers. So what that's helped with now, obviously the size has increased, which has meant that the gap between the rollers is a lot less. Because it's stainless steel, it's preventing it from pinching the potatoes. When it was 2 rubber rollers, as the potato was coming down and the extrusion was gripping it, it was pinching the potato and ripping it out. Whereas now with it being stainless steel, it just slips. So we're not losing anywhere near as much now, hardly anything at all out the back end. So that's just a couple of things that we've adapted to this machine and changed to this machine compared to what it was when we first got it.
Yes, as Ryan was explaining earlier, this is the issue we have with the smaller dolmens on and the bigger gap with the potatoes falling out. So obviously with the rotation every year on the fields, obviously we do potatoes, then in the year after we do leeks. This is the issue you get. The little spud drops out in the soil and it regrows again, which they call them volunteers. And obviously you've got to spray them with a certain chemical that it sort of twists the leeks, which you don't really want to be doing. But with the amount of spuds that are in this field and the amount of spuds that dropped out the back, it's caused a bit of an issue. And a lot of the other chemicals, when you're spraying, don't kill the potatoes. They're probably quite young, so if you pull them up, there probably is. There you go. Right. There's a tiny spud there, which has grown off falling out the back of the harvester. Which obviously, when it comes to a harvesting time, you don't want to be full of spuds and full of weed in your leeks, because that makes it hard work for Sam. That's just from what's dropped out the back. So obviously with getting the new dolmens and making the hole tighter, that will stop any issues next year going forward. Because obviously we only grow leeks and potatoes, so we don't have much of a choice of having other fields.
When the dolmen roller was pinching the potato there, it would grab it like that and it would just open the dolmen up, because it's only fixed at one end, like I said, and it would just throw this straight on the floor. Like Dan was saying there, that's what creates the volunteers and causes quite a lot of headache.
Been planting for 1 week. Hang on.
I'll tell you what, I'll leave it all over the field, see what he thinks then. It's alright saying this, innit? But everything comes packaged, you know. Everything comes packaged 4 times.
Hello.
I'm not being made feel guilty about eating food. Is that it? You said that as well?
No, not today.
Yeah, from that. Is there more?
No, not today, no, tomorrow.
That's not all that.
What? What?
That's not all
What's up?
No.
No, just get some down ready.
These are his grapes, Bella.
Alright.
And it. Full can of lemonade open in the corner.
That's a wipe it, lad, won't you?
How about just not do it?
That wheel one's moving in, doesn't it?
That kind of lemonade spills and that
Do my head in that. Well, when it came originally, they were offset anyway. So we did it ourselves, and then when we moved them, I'm off, mate. I'm last in line anyway, so.
Biggest Malbro convoy there's been this. We've got the special toy from Cornflakes. It was helpful enough and nice enough to give us a demo of a 7R, so 9 footers on this, 6 metres on the 185, bagmut saws on the other, planters on the 150, 6 4s on the Para. Good to go.
That was a fucking joke, that.
Things you do for the camera. Hey, I'm at the front of it all. Going past me, I'm getting all the signals out of it. Like it's my fault.
Hey, we're here now. Calm down.
Yeah, we're here.
What?
Hopefully never.
Let's get hooked up.
Oh yeah, did I, mate? I got all the signals out there. Hey, fucking hell. It was like British Sign Language Month, that. Going past me with all the signals. Oh well.
I've got that off.
My vehicle's more expensive than yours.
He's kept going like, 'cause he wants that cracked back.
2 hours to plough up. Yeah, easy. I don't even know how to use it. Ryan, show me how to do this wheel here. What I'm doing with it. I don't know how to plough this thing yet. Right, so we are here. Finally, we've got all the tractors together, all the equipment's all flat out. Daniel's over there. Daniel and George are over there now, first spreading, just putting all the base bagment down. So they're cracking on with that. Ryan's over in that corner with a 6 metre Coon power high, just breaking it up nice and fine. That's after I've ploughed it here with the 9-4 offset shallow plough, which is a demo off Nigel Quinn, along with the demo off Cornthwaites, and they're working like a dream, to be fair, together. So yeah, I'm made up with it.
What do you think I'm doing? So
I'm not watching what you're doing, I'm looking at my phone.
Exactly.
Sake.
Put the ball back in there.
Where is it?
There's no clipping for it. How the f*** he's lost that, I don't know.
Clipping's missing out the ball for the arms on this power, so it just dropped off. Obviously didn't have a stabilisers on just yet. So I'm far enough over with the plough. Daniel's jumped on the first spreader, George is at to shoot off. So I'll jump on this and get finishing up, make a nice job of it. The rain was almost ordered. It was dry, it was dusty on here, we needed a bit of a downpour, so it kind of worked out in our favour in that sense. However, it was a bit of a scare for filming and any drone work and stuff, but you know, it's passed, we're on, everything's flying, so happy days, it's all worked out.
Obviously big ruts here from that one, but that's why we have this nice little one here that finishes the job off perfect. At the minute Sam's still in my limelight, so you can get back on his. I don't think we'll have enough fur with 2 bags.
You don't? How big's this field?
10 acre.
6.6 bags in it.
You've got 6.
Oh, you had 4 in, didn't you? Numpties.
So we planted this tomorrow if we actually get it finished.
So we finished ploughing now, and we finished with the fertiliser. They're out the field. I'm finishing off with the 6 metre power now, and Sam's following on with the 4 metre. Looks like he's going to be here all night.
Yeah, so we're back here in field 17. This is the field that we worked tirelessly that night to get it ready. We had a few tricky weather conditions that obviously put us back in time, so we had a little window we had to get everything in. It took us about 3 or 4 days. Obviously, as you can probably see, there's a few tongue sharps in this field, which does soak up a little bit of your time, hence why the 4 days. You can see there's a little bit of grass starting to come in between the rudges. But if you look closer, you can see the grass is already starting to die off from the inside, which I sprayed last Monday, I think. I would have liked to have sprayed them a little bit earlier when the grass was a little bit younger, but you know, traditional English weather, you got to pick a window and got to do it. So we did them a little bit later than I wanted to do, but I got them done. And yeah, as you can see, it's already dying off. And within probably next week, get Sam on the interrower, and these will look $1 million. But as you're probably seeing on the top of the leeks, there's a little bit of a brown bit and a little bit of a scorch mark there. That's down to the chemical spray that. So with the wet week we had last week, the leeks have a protective wax on them. So if you can see with my finger, they've got like a wax on them which protects them from chemical and stuff like that. But last week with all that rain, it's obviously de-waxed them a little bit, and it's just scorched the leaf a little tiny bit, which is the side effect of a herbicide spray. But obviously with the weather last week, I didn't really have another choice but to get them done. If I left them any longer, then it becomes harder work to kill the grass. That's the downside of herbicides, but then again, they are your saving grace sometimes. Once the leek is at its fully grown potential at the top, you won't even see that. That'll have dropped off, and it'll be a nice, lush, green plant or ready to harvest crop. So next spring, we'll have a little revisit here, and we'll show you the finished article. There's 650,000 leeks in this field, which are looking really well for the time of year, and we should be harvesting in next spring if all goes to plan. So take a look behind me, so it speaks for itself. They look all right.
Happy days.
Job's a good one.
Next time at the farm.
30 degree heat.
9 million plants, give or take.
My fingers are burnt out.
It's off. Plans in 2024 complete.
I hope it reaches. All that way for nothing. Ryan! Will it reach? Will it reach? Will it reach?
Yeah.
Will it? Masters of Sign Language here. Not reach, you f***er. Not going.
Well.
Bastard.